the left is the most resolutely anti-authoritarian, with the right being the opposite.
I call BS, especially since y'all lumped centrist in with the rights on this graph. More importantly, you just showed the graph without any context whatsoever. It's like you're cherry-picking the fine details of the study you're referencing while also failing to disclose the methods in which the study took place. In my experience, the left is just as authoritarian as the right. It's the moderates and the centrists who are the least authoritarian because they're the ones who really just want to be left alone. And I find it absolutely ridiculous that you point out that leftists are more educated, and of course, the more educated are less likely to be authoritarian, which is the complete opposite. Y'all most definitely want authoritarian control over the education system. You don't want to teach people how to think, you want to teach them what to think. And specifically, when it comes to economic freedom, the left is about as authoritarian as you can get. That's why y'all spend more time dogging on capitalism than explaining how socialism is actually going to work. Because the reality is, socialism is not a viable alternative to capitalism, despite all of capitalism's flaws. Because in order for socialism to work, you need a centralized planned economy. You need authoritarian control over the economy. Which is why leftists spend more time trying to criticize capitalism and implying that private ownership automatically means rich people control the economy when it doesn't. The reality is poor people could also have private ownership within a capitalist economy, but you never want to acknowledge that. Nor do y'all want to acknowledge the reality. The reason poor people have a hard time competing in the government is because of excessive government regulations on the economy. And y'all try to defend it because, well, we need the government to keep people from getting sick or keep people from getting hurt. No, you don't. Y'all act like without strong centralized economic planning and strict government regulations, restaurants would just be serving poison to their customers. But in what reality does that make any kind of sense whatsoever? Did it ever occur to you that getting your customers sick means that they can't come back to spend more money on your services? More importantly, ask anybody who's worked in the restaurant industry, including myself. The government regulations do not shut down unsanitary work environments. It just fines them for government profit. As in, the state also wants to make its money. But you know what has put a lot of unsanitary restaurants out of business? The free market has. If enough people get sick from eating at your restaurant, guess what? People are going to stop eating there. And if you want to get into the big corporations like Kellogg's, what happened when their CEO just bragged about poor people can eat cereal for dinner? Oh yeah, their stocks plummeted because people stopped buying their products. Poor people have way more sway in the market than people like you want to acknowledge. And the only reason these corporations have so much control over the market is because of government regulation and interference in the market. All these major corporations get welfare and subsidies from the government left and right. And when the economy starts to tank, guess what? The government bails them out so they don't have to file for bankruptcy or sell off their assets. Let's make it very clear. Leftists are not the opposite of authoritarian. Libertarians are. And the majority of libertarians, when it comes to the left versus right, are more moderate and centrist. So yeah, I'm more than certain that this study you reference is extremely biased. Especially given that you didn't disclose the questioning that was being done that led to these results. At the end of the day, the left is just as, if not more authoritarian than the right. The only difference is that right-wingers are more for economic liberty, and left-wingers are more for social liberty. And libertarians like myself advocate for the best of both worlds. We don't care about your race, your gender, or any of that so long as you're not hurting anyone else. And we don't care about how you run your business as long as you're not hurting anyone else. But both leftist and right-wingers want a strong centralized authority when it comes to supporting their ideology. Leftists want a strong centralized authority to oversee the economy, and right-wingers want a strong centralized authority to control what people do in their daily lives. Leftists in no way, shape, or form are anti-authority. They just support a different type of authority than the right.